Cowboys, Giants. Wow, what a horrible Sunday night football game that was just played. Just an awful game put all together. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the Cowboys blowing out the Giants by the score of 40-0. The Giants got humiliated from start to finish, as this was one of the biggest beatdowns that I have ever seen in my entire life of watching professional football, with Daniel Jones getting a 4-year, $160 million contract from the Giants. This was certainly embarrassing for him to perform like this on a national stage. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. How embarrassed should the Giants be with this beatdown from the Cowboys? On a scale of 1 to 10, the answer needs to be 1,000, and the scale needs to freaking break, because that was absolutely embarrassing by the New York Giants. That was entirely unacceptable from what I saw with Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones. Absolutely pathetic. That was the worst Sunday night football game that I've ever watched in my life. It was so bad that I left the game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I was like, man, that was a horrible Sunday night game. Why did the schedule makers put this game on Sunday Night Football? The New York Giants have always gotten known to the Dallas Cowboys, and they will continue to get owned to the Dallas Cowboys. The New York Giants just don't beat the Dallas Cowboys, plain and simple. We always go on the Dallas Cowboys for what? Being an accident waiting to happen, being chokers in the playoffs. But one thing the Cowboys can do that they do really well is that they beat up the New York Giants. My goodness, the New York Giants didn't just get beat down, they got shamackled, they got smacked, they got kicked, they got embarrassed, they got shellackled, all in their home building. And to do this after paying Daniel Jones $40 million a year. For what? So he can throw for one touchdown a game? How does Daniel Jones get that contract? But Geno Smith in Seattle, who actually had a Pro Bowl year, actually threw for 30 touchdowns, took Seattle to the playoffs, just like Daniel Jones did. And he only gets $25 million a year, but Daniel Jones, he only throws 15 touchdowns, barely throws for over 3,000 yards, but he gets 4 years, $160 million. All because he was a former first-round pick. All because of that. And to see Daniel Jones play football the way that he did last night, absolutely embarrassing, absolutely shameful. Daniel Jones completed 53.6% of his passes, barely threw for over 100 yards. He threw 2 picks, including a pick 6. He took 7 sacks. He also ran the football 13 times, 43 rushing yards. He also lost the ball 2 times, though he didn't lose any fumbles. Absolutely pathetic. If you're Daniel Jones and the New York Giants, you gotta burn the tape. Don't even watch it. Just act like the game never even existed, because it was awful. There was nothing, and when I say nothing, I mean nothing positive that was taken away for the New York Giants. The New York Giants did nothing well. They got burned by the run game. They got sacked on offense a lot. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't do anything whatsoever. And this marks the second time in a row that the Giants have gotten blown out, dating back to last season in the NFC divisional round, because they got beat down to the Philadelphia Eagles 38-7. Now they're getting blown out to the Cowboys 40-0. In the last 2 ball games that the New York Giants have played, the Giants have gotten blown out by the score of 78-7. That's how horrible that they have played football. If a team got blown up that badly in back-to-back games, most people would be calling for the job of the head coach and the quarterback. Now, obviously, you're not going to call for the job of Brian Daboll, because he won Coach of the Year for the Giants and that he overachieved. And also, Brian Daboll is handcuffed. There's only so much that you can do with Daniel Jones. Yeah, Daniel Jones is a nice guy, and he's going to say all the right things, and he's going to play hard for you, but Daniel Jones doesn't have the capability of being a $40 million quarterback per year. It's that simple. We get on Dak Prescott because we think Dak Prescott is overpaid. We don't think Dak Prescott is worth his contract, but Dak Prescott is worlds better than Daniel Jones. Now, Dak Prescott didn't go out there and play a great game last night, but you know what? Dak Prescott didn't need to play a great game, because Daniel Jones was basically hand gifting him the game with turnovers. I mean, my goodness, how do you start off a game with a block kick return for a touchdown? Okay, that part wasn't Daniel Jones' fault. That was special teams' fault. But still, it was 6-0. Then you proceed to go 3 and out. The Cowboys to take a long drive. They get a field goal, and then Daniel Jones throws a pick 6. Absolutely horrible. It was 16-0 before the Giants could even do anything offensively. They turned over the ball 3 times. They had fumbling problems. They couldn't protect the football whatsoever. In the first round pick that they used at wide receiver, Jalen Hyatt, the guy that everybody was hyping up and saying, oh my goodness, look at Daniel Jones. He now has actual receivers to throw the football to. And what did Jalen Hyatt do? Nothing. He did nothing whatsoever. He couldn't put in any statistics whatsoever. He would have been better off had he just stayed home. All he just did was do conditioning for 3 straight hours, because he didn't get any individual statistics in there. And then, of course, there was Graham Gano. He's supposed to be a reliable kicker, but he ended up missing 2 field goals yesterday, and he ended up getting a field goal blocked from 45 yards to end up being a blocked field goal return for a touchdown by the Cowboys, and then he missed a kick wide left in 36 yards. It was a horrible field goal. It looked like it didn't even have a chance from 26 yards. And then the New York Giants defensive line, they couldn't force any sacks whatsoever. Defensive line was non-existent, and obviously when you turn over the ball 3 times as a team and you have a block kick return for a touchdown and you're not producing on offense, you're obviously going to get blown out. I mean, it was absolutely embarrassing. It was shameful. Brian Daboll, he needs to go ahead and burn the tape, because nothing good is going to come out of that tape. The New York Giants did nothing well whatsoever. I mean, when you got a Cowboys guy returning a blocked field goal for 58 yards to basically start off the game, that's when you know the game is going to go disastrous. I mean, they got some guy named Deron Bland, a guy that I have never heard of. He ends up scoring a 22-yard pick six, and then of course Stephon Gilmore, he gets an interception, and the turnovers led to points. The Cowboys ended up getting 14 points off turnovers. Now, if you want to count the blocked field goal that ended up going for a touchdown, that was 20 points off mistakes that the New York Giants made. That was essentially half of their points. But as for the New York Giants, it seems like they're going to be a lock for last place in the division. They are far behind the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys will own them, and they will continue to own them. That's not to say that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be Super Bowl contenders or that they're going to be a great football team this year. That just tells you how horrible the New York Giants are, because of the fact that the Dallas Cowboys are owning them repeatedly. But the point is, the Giants, they are far, far, far behind the Dallas Cowboys. They are severely behind them. And then, of course, the New York Giants are going to be also behind the Philadelphia Eagles by a ton, because of the fact that Jalen Hurts is the opposing quarterback, and that Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, while they still have A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, as well as a good defense. So obviously the Eagles are going to be much better than the Giants. And then, of course, there's the Washington Commanders. Yeah, you can say that they struggled against the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, you can say that they only beat the Cardinals by 4 points, but at least they have a quarterback that's not even getting paid $1 million. They got a 5th round quarterback that's in the 2nd season, that's 2-0 as a starter right now. He's not getting paid that much. They have an elite defensive line. They got elite wide receivers. If the Commanders get their chemistry together, they're going to be a team to watch out for in the NFC. So when I look at all those 3 teams compared to the New York Giants, what are the New York Giants going to do in terms of the talent field that they got? Yeah, they got Darren Waller. Yeah, they got Jalen Hyatt. Yeah, they got Isaiah Simmons. And it seems like they improved on paper, but the New York Giants last year did not deserve to win all those games last year. Yeah, you can say the New York Giants won 9 games in a tie, but that roster was not indicative of a 9-win team. That was more of a 4-win team. Now, when you look at this New York Giants team, I was thinking, okay, they're going to be a 7-win team this year. But then after watching last night, I'm like, are we even sure the Giants are going to win that many games? I mean, have we ever seen a season essentially end before it started? The New York Giants look like they are a team dead in the water, and that their Cinderella run is essentially over. Daniel Jones is a massively overpaid quarterback. Nice guy, but he's not going to get the job done with being paid $40 million a year. He can't just run the football and hide from the rest of the team. He's going to have to actually come out and throw the football, because what I saw from Daniel Jones was entirely unacceptable. And to think the New York Giants actually had options this offseason, and to stick with Daniel Jones, absolutely disgraceful. They could have gotten Jimmy Garoppolo for $25 million. They could have gotten Geno Smith for $25 million. They could have even signed Lamar Jackson to a big contract. Yeah, I know that Lamar Jackson is getting paid more than Daniel Jones, but unlike Daniel Jones, Lamar Jackson is actually an elite quarterback. Lamar Jackson is actually one of the top quarterbacks in the game of football, but Daniel Jones isn't. And then they failed to pay up Saquon Barkley. Now, normally I'm not a guy that wants to pay up running backs whatsoever, but Saquon Barkley is the exception to the rule. Anybody that watched football last year understood that Saquon Barkley carried the New York Giants offensively speaking, and anybody that knows football knows that Saquon Barkley was easily the best player on the football field for the New York Giants on offense. They should have paid him up. Instead, they wanted to overpay some mediocre quarterback $160 million over 4 years. This is going to be disastrous for the New York Giants, and who knows if they're going to even win week 2 next week against the Arizona Cardinals, because the Arizona Cardinals defense is looking a little bit better than expected. Who knows, with the way the Giants looked on offense, who knows if they could even beat the Cardinals on the road. If they got embarrassed by the Dallas Cowboys like that, how are they going to be able to keep pace with the Arizona Cardinals, potentially speaking? Because the Cardinals defense seems to be pretty good thus far, and with the way the New York Giants play offense, I don't care who the coach is. No coach is going to be able to get any production out of that core. But the point is, it's looking disastrous for the Giants. They've already got major problems, and that it's only week 1. If I'm the New York Giants, I'm thinking about how are we going to get out of the Daniel Jones contract, and how are we going to get ourselves a new quarterback next year, because he is not it at the quarterback position. No, I'm not overreacting to one game. I'm just reacting to the 5 years that Daniel Jones has played for the Giants. Daniel Jones is just a guy. Who cares if we won a playoff game? Baker Mayfield won a playoff game. Case Keenum won a playoff game. Blake Bortles won 2 playoff games. Who cares? Winning a playoff game isn't that big of a deal for a quarterback. I mean, yeah, it's good, but it's not the only thing that matters as a quarterback. The context absolutely matters. And for Daniel Jones, he clearly is not the guy in New York, and that they screwed up big time by paying him that major contract. The Giants are going to live to regret it. It's that simple. So that is why the Giants should absolutely be embarrassed with this beatdown from the Cowboys, as this was the biggest blowout that I have ever seen in my lifetime on Sunday Night Football. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @Dustin Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.